MoonPig, for those not familiar, is a brand that offers customizable greeting cards. We have two USPs. One is creative features, so getting as creative as possible and personalised as possible with their designs, adding photos and your own messages, handwriting, all that stuff. Then the other USP would be product capable of next day delivery. One of the things that's really important for our business is the relationship with the customer. We actually don't have any guest login. Customers have to log in with us in order to check out with us and continue using our products. And this is primarily so that we can be that partner with them, encourage them to keep using our products and services, as that's our stance. Our access and identity management is pretty key to us. If we don't have that working, customers can't purchase. We've been able to do a number of things such as social login with code. We're looking at passwordless options now, just to really help customers engage with their account much more streamlined and much quicker than they could previously. Password was the only option that they had, and we've seen significant uplift in conversion in that area. The customer experience is mostly fantastic. The first thing we did after integrating with Ori was integrate social login, and that was our biggest opportunity in the area. So we didn't have Google login, we didn't have Apple login at the time, and basically our e-commerce platform that we were using as an identity provider, that wasn't their roadmap, and probably rightly so. So we needed to be able to utilize a platform that gave us those features. So very quickly we integrated social login, and that was a pretty huge success for us. Having done some authentication stuff ourselves in MoonPig, we have an appreciation of the potential security benefits there that are wrapped into the stronger encryption methodologies that are practiced with Ori, and I'm pretty confident that's the difference. What we have been looking at is the more passwordless approach. We're going to be looking into passkeys, which is becoming a bit of an industry standard. The key challenge that we're trying to address at the moment is that we're all human. Our memories are terrible, and especially for MoonPig, which for some customers can be quite a peaky use case. I might go for just Mother's Day or just for Christmas. Those customers forget the credentials. That's probably the biggest problem we're trying to tackle right now, is giving customers an easier way to reaccess their account, and we're finding that the passwordless options using code-based login is being very successful on that front, and to the point that we've actually changed our forgot password experience to be login with code functionality, and actually giving the customers the option whether or not they even want to change the password at that point, and a lot of them are opting for just continuing with login with code. I'm not convinced that there's many other users on the Ori platform that have the same peaks as we do, other than maybe Christmas. I don't think we've experienced that many issues. We have had challenges, but I think that they were more relating to adapting feature sets rather than peaks. For instance, when we first introduced login with code as an option, there was a performance impact there initially, and we needed to figure that one out. But scaling wise, it's been fairly good and consistent. We did an analysis of the feature set of a few different products. The costings was a big thing for us. So if you think about our transactional profile relative to other e-commerce sites, we have a fairly low average order value, and so our transactional costs have to remain pretty low. So we have to be fairly lean on that front. We wanted to do things like social login. We also looked into more self-developed and managed solutions versus full SaaS products, and actually one of the things that was quite attractive about Ori is that you have both the open source product, the self-hosted, and the SaaS offering. In having that product both as a SaaS and a self-hosted meant that we had a backup plan, right? If the SaaS offering didn't give us what we needed, the open source product would be easier to migrate to if we need to. Something that's strategically important to us as a business is remaining flexible and giving ourselves flexibility. So that was attractive to us because it meant that we had the option. No one wants to be changing any provider every 3 to 5 years, right? If you end up in that position, then you're spending more time just keeping the lights on rather than innovating your product and providing bottom line growth for the business. But for us, because that flexibility allows us to maybe make a quicker transition if we need to, it became an attractive proposition, whereas there were a lot of self-hosted options that didn't give you a SaaS alternative and a lot of SaaS options that don't give you a self-hosted alternative, and that was really what stuck out to us, along with the feature set. We knew what we wanted in the short term, we had an idea of what we wanted in the medium term, things like social login, login with a code, magic link. We looked at all of those feature sets and Ori ticked all the boxes, as well as being a competitive price. We have an API abstraction around all of our authentication functionality, which became the easy point at which to make this pivot, right, from one authentication provider to another. It made for a really seamless transition. I only needed to really work on it within our team, and the rest of the technical department didn't really need to have any awareness of what was going on. But as a result, we now operate in a headless manner. We don't have any Ori user interface within our product. That is largely to maintain some level of control over the user interface and to be able to own our own destiny in terms of the user experience there. The trade-off there is that if Ori makes a really cool change that would be great for our customers, we would need to replicate that ourselves, and we're quite happy with that trade-off because it means that we actually are a bit more aware of what's going on with our user experience. There's two main results from using Ori. One is the security posture. Having confidence that our customers' credentials are in safe hands. That was something that was really important to us. Second to that would be user experience benefit. In releasing social login and login with a code, innovating around the way that we display those features to a customer, we've managed to significantly uplift our conversion through our login experience, which, when that is a necessary gate in your customer's journey, we require customers to use an account with us. It has to be as seamless and frictionless as possible. One of the reasons we chose Ori was because where you were positioned in the market was ideal for us, because it meant that you were in a position where you knew you needed to grow and you knew you needed to innovate. Customer relationships were going to be important to you. We value that as a company. We value a close cross-business relationship, and that is exactly what we've got. We've been very close to the Ori technical team, so during integration we were able to talk about all of the problems that we had, and by the way, a lot of them were largely about opinionated previous platforms rather than the Ori platform. But yeah, we're able to talk pretty real time with support staff, your technical staff, and get some pretty good resolutions. And there's been a few instances actually where that paid off because there was a problem with Apple devices that needed addressing, and we were able to work that out together. Had a really positive experience with Ori. We've had what I'd consider a reasonable amount of influence on what the Ori product offers and what we can get out of it as a result, and remaining competitive with the rest of the market from a pricing perspective. Can't really complain about that.